Greetings, and today I have another deck video for you guys. So I was gonna post some gameplay for the Assimilate deck I made yesterday, but I kind of want to show this deck because I think this deck is pretty strong if played properly, because in my opinion this was a very delicate deck to play. So obviously you guys can always change it in the way that you guys would like to play it, but the way I've been playing this deck has been pretty strong. It has done decently well. Of course, if played properly, as with most decks. So this is the big insectoid deck. So I kind of took the mechanics of the insectoid and the big monsters in a way. So here's the deck list, and I want to go through them one by one. And I will be playing a couple games with them. So I want to show you both the Assimilate deck gameplay video and the monsters deck gameplay video on the weekend. So I'll be posting on both days, both with gameplay of those two decks. So to go through this deck, so this revolves pretty much around control, and it is a combination that I never actually tried to do until now, and when I discovered it, it is actually pretty strong. I didn't even realize how strong the potential of this deck could be. So we have the Living Armor here. This does use the Living Armor card, and you are wondering, yes, why is the Living Armor in this deck? It is strange. I was playing Gwent yesterday on the first day, and I saw a combination between Caranthir and the Living Armor, where spawning a copy of the Living Armor makes its armor go up, makes its health go up to 10 because of its armor. So it's no longer summoning that 1 power copy. It technically still is, but because of the Living Armor's ability, it's a 13-point play. You combo it with Whispering Hillock, and A, it summons Insectoid, and B, it summons another Caranthir, which summons another Living Armor for another 13-point play in the next turn. So that's a pretty strong combo right there. But another combo I found out is if you swarm your deck with all of these insectoids, you can use Yennefer to sort of buff them all up. Use Whispering Hillock to replay Yennefer Vengerberg, and then your last play, and I've done this twice now, and I've won once and I've tied once, because the one with the tie was just the Rowdy Dwarves. The Rowdy Dwarves were just too powerful. And I have Geralt Irdrin to sort of the finisher to sort of reset all the units in a row to bring their power. Pretty much all the boost I gave them plus the boost they give themselves, I pretty much brought it all down to their reset value. So I think that's actually a pretty strong combination. So you have different possibilities with the Whispering Hillock. So the Whispering Hillock actually is a really strong card, and that needs to come out. You need to have Whispering Hillock for this deck to sort of work properly. So let's just sort of go over the rest and see what makes this a swarm deck. Obviously this deck can be changed to make it better, and if there is, please let me know if there is a way to make it better. I am gonna make some edits on it myself, and because I want to do pretty well with this deck. So I've only played it I think 4 times today, and I've won 3 out of the 4 times and 1 draw, so it was pretty good so far. But I'll show you gameplay, don't worry, I'm not just making up numbers. So Living Armor, we kind of already gone through, is you can combo it with Whispering Hillock and Caranthir. Yennefer of Vengerberg already went through. Again, one of the strongest second to last game finishers you're going to want here, because she does boost all other units by 2, and if you manage to swarm your deck pretty well, then you can get the full maximum benefit out of her. Now, of course, I've always found a problem of running out of space on my field to summon more insectoids, and that has become kind of a problem. But with the amount of sort of removal that's being out there, it is a good way to sort of thin out your your swarm cards, so you can sort of use them in, like, let's say the first or second round, just to build up a little bit of tempo, but then you want to save enough insectoid cards to sort of finish yourself off in the third round if you want to go that far. So, and we have Geralt Irdrin, again, good finisher card, just because a lot of units like to go tall in various decks nowadays. Geralt Irdrin is going to be a pretty decent stoppage for all of them, not to mention he doesn't touch any of your units for reset, so all your units keep the boosts. I have Royal Decree here simply because I want to ensure that almost all, if not all, my gold cards see play in all of these decks. This is not something you want on Living Armor. You always want Living Armor to be in your hand to be activated by Caranthir. You don't ever want Living Armor to be played by either Naglfar or Royal Decree, because that's not its purpose in this deck. So that's sort of where the big comes in Big Insectoid. The Insectoid is still a swarm deck. It always will be a swarm-based deck, but I'm just sort of combining the two mechanics together. I got Roach for the deck fin. Honestly, you don't need Roach in this particular deck that I've noticed, just simply because of the amount of control that is possible with this deck. So there are some you can possibly make an argument to get rid of Roach completely. The deck doesn't thin as much, but honestly you can replace it. For example, let's say a card like Alzur's Double Cross, if you want to ensure Living Armor to come out for whatever reason. You know, like let's say if Living Armor never makes it out of your deck, you can always play the Alzur's Double Cross. It never hurts to play an 8 provision for a card that costs 10 to come out. It never hurts to do that. Or even a card like, let's say for example, the Last Wish. It is you do kind of risk this because whatever card doesn't get played does get banished. So I probably might not want to go there. Goliath is also decent for that sort of big mechanic coming up right there. And yeah, so there's decent options. Honestly, I've always found that I've had 3 gold cards in the deck, and Naglfar and the Royal Decree always makes themselves between 2 of them. So honestly, it is easy to get rid of all of your gold cards from your deck. So even a card like, because a lot of these boosts come from Death Wishes. So you can definitely use a card like Chiron, or even the Brewis. So there's just different combinations that can go pretty well with this deck. But as long as you sort of come up with that finisher, so this deck is meant to play for long rounds, but you don't want to linger it for so long that your opponent manages to, you know, sort of see what you're doing and come up with the proper counter before the game is over. So this would be probably best play like when you have like 7, 8, 9 cards. Obviously not 10. You don't want to go that long of a round, and sometimes that one turn does make a big difference. The next card here is Naglfar. It's good because it's good to deck thin and to set up your next round. So for example, if you're in round 2 and you want to sort of filter out your deck and you see that the next gold card, let's say, is going to be Geralt Erdrin, you have Yennefer Vengerberg in your hand waiting already. You want those two to sort of end the game for you. So you can set up, you're going to be guaranteed Geralt on the 3rd round, and you definitely want that to happen. And you can play any other gold card here, which is great. Next card I have is Osril. Osril is pretty much just meant for the Living Armor. He's not really meant for anything else. So if you ever find that Osril is not going to serve any purposes because A, you don't have a Living Armor, and B, you don't have a Living Armor plus your opponent doesn't have any big units to absorb, then you can just mulligan Osril back in the 3rd round. It's always good to keep him in hand just in case the Living Armor does come out, because you want Osril to sort of be there as a good reliable finisher as well. Next card, you have the Whispering Hillock. Again, a lot of combinations that can go with this. You can combine it with the Yennefer of Vengerberg to have her boost by 4, which is pretty strong, all units. Then of course end it off with Geralt, because Geralt only needs to work once to get rid of every single boost, which is what I think makes this deck pretty powerful. You can also use it again for Caranthir to summon 2 Living Armors in 2 consecutive turns for a 23.2 turn play, which is a pretty good tempo swing for, let's say, for round 1 if you're trying to sort of push round 1 without using your strong combo. Of course, using Whispering Hillock sort of risks you not pulling off the combo of double Yen plus Geralt, but you know, if it gets you the dub, then get the dub, right? Next is Caranthir. We kind of already went through what he does, so you guys kind of have the idea of how strong he can be in this deck right here. Next is the Arachas Behemoth. Good for that control. You're already guaranteed 6 because it's 2 drones and they both get boosted, plus whatever insectoids you already have down there in that row. I think increasing the number of charges on the Arachas Swarm actually made it more likely that more insectoids are gonna come out, because I found more difficulty finding space to summon more monsters here than I did before the patch came out, which I thought was kind of strange, even though it shouldn't be. So Arachas Behemoth is good there for that sort of extra boost. He's sort of the monsters version of Dennis Kramer from Dwarves, of course, as you've seen now that a lot of Ruddy Dwarves are being played. Dennis Kramer is seeing a lot more play just because of how many Ruddy Dwarves get summoned. So yeah. Next card here, we have the Endrega Queen. The Endrega Queen, again, is good for progressive summoning of even more spiders. So it is crazy the amount of spiders you're getting here. Although the Endrega Queen would probably mostly be useful here if it eats the Living Armor, because none of these other cards have really strong armor. Your only other option could potentially be the Endrega Larva, but of course you get rid of its possible protection, in which case it gets destroyed relatively easily by a simple ping. So I would want to use this simply for, you know, eating a Living Armor. If not a bad idea to mulligan it back into the deck. Next is the Solano Harpy. You need a couple of consume units here that eat cards on the field if you want to, what do you call it? if you want to release the swarm of drones coming out. Again, this is another one of those cards as well that you can possibly say that you want to switch, because I already have 2 Endrega warriors here. So if you want to switch it for example, let's say something like a Griffin wouldn't be a bad idea, because it's an 8 power card. You eat, let's say for example, you eat a simple drone, another drone doesn't come out, and that sort of leaves you with extra room to play more units. So that's an argument you can make there as well. Plus it's an 8 power, and honestly, who wouldn't want to go? You can't go wrong with an 8 power unit, right? Or even something like a Kikimori warrior. This one maybe not so much. Well, I mean, this one wouldn't be too bad of a target, because your opponent's gonna want to target this with the resource cards, and while yes, if it exposes, it does destroy itself, which kind of sucks, but again, it's somewhat good synergy with the insectoids, because the more you summon, the more armor it gets. If they don't destroy it, then it'll be just fine. But other than that, I'd probably go with the Griffin over the Kikimori warrior if you are going to make the change. I have the Wild Hunt Rider here. He is sort of the first turn play. If I were to ever go first in a 3-round series, I would probably use up a charge to summon a drone to get rid of a charge, plus to alleviate some space, and I would combo with the Wild Hunt Rider and kind of bring it out to the field. So that's already good deck thin to set up for your second round. You do not need this card to sort of be part of your finishing combo to win, because you have a lot of other cards that can already do that. This is just a good sort of starting off the round, sort of scouting the field, see what's going on, and then you can kind of go on from there. I put 1 unit of Harpy Egg. It was just a bit of a filler. Again, it's another one of those cards that you can honestly change, but if you can get it eaten, it's not going to be so bad, because you do get to summon a Harpy, which is an extra 5 power. So yeah, there's that. I'm just showing you between the 5 and 4 cost here, because, you know, if you guys do make changes on some of the cards that I said that you can make changes on, definitely let me know. That would be great. Next is the Endrega Larva. It is the more powerful version of Nekker, so this pretty much makes Nekkers obsolete. Plus it has better synergy with all these other cards, because A, it's an insectoid, so it'll get the boosts from the Arachis Behemoth, it'll get the boosts from I'll get the support from the Endrega Warrior, etc. So, and plus it's armor, so it's pretty well protected. So it's just good for the Thrive units, because you are going to be eating units. If you do combo it with the Karanthir Whispering Hillock into 2 living armors, that makes them even more powerful. So there is that you can work with as well. I put 2 units. I put 2 copies of Natural Selection in this deck, because again, this is where sort of the over control is starting to come in a little bit, because I feel like I'm gonna summon way too much drones, but I'm using Natural Selection as a sort of removal to sort of get rid of 1 extra card from the opponent's side of the field, simply because you can never go wrong with getting rid of 1 unit, because you want to have a bigger swarm than they do by the time you sort of pull off the Killer 3 combo. So there's that as well. Endrega Warrior kind of went over. This is gonna be the main consumer unit. You put 2 Endrega eggs beside each other, put an Endrega Warrior right in between. You're summoning 6 drones? 6 drones plus the extra 2 for Endrega Warrior, so you're gonna fill up a whole row if you pull off this combo, and then half of your field is already set up for the big finisher of Geralt and Yennefer. There's a reason why they're lovers, you know. And last but not least, this is again another card that you can probably consider taking out, is the Foglet. I always find it hard to mulligan a deck like this when I have both the Wild Hunt Riders and the Foglets together, because when I can end up mulliganing out a Wild Hunt Rider into a Foglet, and that's going to mess me up big time, and I can't really afford that. So if that's the case, then let round 1 play out. I would probably get an Endrega Larva out. I would play a Foglet, because it does not activate the other Foglet until it is dead, so obviously they wouldn't know that the Foglet is in your hand. And then as a sort of just twist, play the other Foglet there with it. In all honesty, the only reason why I do have the Seleno Harpy is in case I do get the Foglet combo taken out, which is actually pretty great if that is the case. If not, I make sure Foglet's in my hand as well. I just play the other Foglet. The Endrega Larva will get the Thrive 2 times, because it is 3 power, of course. So it's not like you're getting nothing from it. You're getting some decently strong plays from it anyway. Plus, it's the first round. You know me, I like to go up to round 3. I try not to 2-0 unless I'm in a really, really good position to do so. So that's sort of the deck list. Again, it's a pretty strong deck, and if you find yourself like, you know, over swarming yourself, you can make a case on probably changing your hero power as well from a Ratchet Swarm. Honestly, I don't know what you want to change it for. Probably potentially Death Shadow. If you, again, Death Shadow is, you are just guaranteeing another Death Wish to happen. So if you want another Harpy to come out from Harpy Egg, or even more Swarm from the Indrega Eggs, or even activate just the Foglet. And the good thing about this is I believe you can use this once every round. So you do have some flexibility with Death Shadow. Same provision cost, so you don't even need to change a single thing in the deck at all. And yeah, have fun with this deck. I certainly had a lot of fun playing this deck. It's going to be quite interesting, and as I improve it, I would like to kind of show you guys, so I will be updating this deck, let's say, you know, after maybe every 20 games or so. I do want to do this as well, and I have a Skellige deck coming up as well, so I want to show you the gameplay for both Nilfgaard and monsters first before I move on to the next deck. Anyway, other than that, leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a comment on any changes you guys would like to make, and definitely let me know because I am very interested in that, and subscribe for more Gwent videos. And other than that, this is Enzo signing out. I'll catch you guys in the next one.